Well, it looks pretty good, but I think early on this pitch will be very fast with lots of bounce in it, so the fast-up bowlers should enjoy themselves. Batsmen, well, I think they'll have the work cut out early on, and they'll have to adjust to the height and pace of the bowling.
Day for the helmet, is it?
Definitely so, especially the way you bat.
Thank you, Geoffrey. Let's get out of the pitch where the captains are out in the middle and they're about to toss the coin.
Yeah, interesting pitch this. It's a bit dry and dusty, as if it's worn already. There should be a lot of turn in it for the spinners, and more so as the match progresses. Although with a fast outfield, if the spinners get offline a bit, they'll certainly get punished. But all in all, you'd have to say that as a spinner, you'd be queuing up for a bowl on this, so you want to bat first if you win the toss.
Right, we'll see what happens. Thanks, Geoffrey. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are in the middle and they're about to toss the coin.
Well, it's a damp pitch with all the rain we've had. We'll play slow and low, and I think batting will be hard work. There won't be many runs, slow outfield, a ball coming on slowly. I think it'll be played like a bit of a pudding, really. So it should be really a case of who bowls the tightest and who's got the most patience and concentration will actually win the game.
Bit of a Yorkshire pudding.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are out in the middle and about to toss the coin.
When I looked at it earlier on, I thought there's only one place to be here, and that's batting. It looks hard, flat, dry, a batsman's paradise. I can't think what the bowlers are going to get out of it. They'll have to work jolly hard to get anything. And I think it's fill your boots time for batsmen.
For a bowler like me, I'm better off up here.
Well, yes, you can't bat and you couldn't bowl, so I'm not sure what you were doing.
Well, thanks, Geoffrey. Now let's go down to the pitch where the captains are in the middle and they're about to toss the coin.
It looks great to me. It's going to be hard to keep the score down on this pitch. It's flat, it's no pace, no bounce, it looks very true, and I can't see much in it for the seam bowlers. Spinners, well, they never do well in Barbados. They're money for old rope. It could be hard work in the field for whichever team loses the toss. Me, I definitely want to bat first.
Occupying the crease time, is it, Geoffrey?
Definitely.
OK, thanks very much. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are out in the middle and they're about to toss the coin. Well, the captain's bringing on a part-time bowler here. Geoffrey, what do you make of that?
Well, part-time bowlers are usually used by the captain when his fielding side are struggling for a wicket. And I think this brings in the situation for a batsman where twofold. One, you can think, well, here's a few cheap runs. If I don't do anything sloppy, I should be able to knock him off and get a few cheap runs here because he's not a major bowler. But if you get too aggressive and too cocky, then you're going to get yourself out, which is what the bowling side are wanting. That's why they're trying a fill-in bowler.
You're a part-timer, weren't you, with the cap turned the wrong way round?
Yes, I was. I think I made more test wickets than you.
I knew you were going to say that. But you were, didn't you? You got the odd one, didn't you? Tripping in with your medium pace.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to have had to earn my living, though, as a bowler.
The harder of the two, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, I think I would have starved. Well, it's a funny-looking pitch. It's like your jigsaw with cracks all over the place. Looks pretty dry. I can see the cracks opening more as the match progresses, and the edges of the cracks, it'll be interesting to see how firm they are when the ball keeps hitting them. I think it's a grafter's pitch. You're going to have to take a lot of time getting your runs. You have to stay in. It's a lot of concentration and patience. Just the sort of pitch for me, Jonathan.
Sounds absolutely perfect for you. Let's see what happens. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are out in the middle and they're about to toss the coin.
Yeah, nice day for batting, but there's a bit of grass on the pitch, so there'll be a bit of early movement for the seam bowlers. But the bounce won't be particularly high, so it shouldn't cause any problems for batsmen if they get forward whenever possible. After the new ball, I think the spinners will bowl a lot of overs. It will turn, probably slowly and predictable. It shouldn't cause batsmen of quality too many problems. All in all, you'd like to win the toss and bat first.
Thank you, Geoffrey. Well, let's go down to the pitch where the captains are about to toss the coin out in the middle.
Well, this is a funny-looking pitch to me, a bit damp and juicy looking for the seam bowlers. It also looks as if the pitch isn't that solid and will take some spin fairly early on. I don't think as a batsman I'd be queuing up for a bat, so maybe it'd be a good toss to lose.
Not sitting on the fence, are you, Geoffrey?
No, but I'd certainly not like to have a bat against your bowling on here. I'd like to see what happens to other people batting first.
That sounds about right. Well, thanks, Geoffrey. Let's go down to the pitch now where the captains are in the middle and they're about to toss the coin. Well played. That was the perfect full defensive shot. You should know about that.
Yes, I did. I think what's important when you're playing forward defensive, a lot of people think if they just stick the foot out, then that's okay. It isn't. I think you want as big a stride as you possibly get, so that you get as close to the pitch of the ball, and you want to make sure that you get your body weight forward so you're actually over the top of the ball. You're almost smelling the leather. That's important.
It's almost what every shot is founded on, isn't it? At least every drive and so on. It's a vital shot to get right early on, isn't it?
Well, it's all right. We all would like to play lovely shots to score runs. But if you work it out in an innings of any batsman, you play a lot more balls defensively than you do play scoring shots. So it's very important to play forward defensive.
Is it the first shot that you learn, do you think?
I think so. Because if you can't stay in, you're never going to score any runs, are you?
Good point. Now, the tail ender's getting some runs here. Geoffrey, vital runs too.
I think for the fielding side, the art of being able to polish off tail enders, it is an art, it is a skill. I think a lot of teams take it for granted. Well, if you've got out the top batsman, it should be easy getting out the tail enders. They're not supposed to be recognised batsmen. But I think there's a skill in it and there's an art. And those that have it are very welcome by the bowling side, because there's nothing more frustrating than having tail enders when you've got most of the top batsmen out, having tail enders chip away and get 20 or 30 runs each. It really can make, they can make some very, very valuable runs.
Do you fancy bowling spinners or quicker bowlers at tail enders?
I think unless it's turning, quicker bowlers.
Scare them out.
Definitely. A couple in the ribs. I don't think so much round the rear, but a couple in the ribs just to test out their nerve and their courage, and then bowl straight. Well, this is a funny looking pitch. Even you might like a bowl on this, Jonathan. It looks uneven with undulations, and there's plenty of grass to aid the seam bowlers. I don't feel the bounce of the ball will be true, so the batsmen will have to keep on their toes. It's unlikely that many runs will be scored, so everyone will be vital. I definitely would not like to bat first or last on this pitch, so any runs by any batsman will be gratefully received.
Well, what a fascinating match. Thanks, Geoffrey. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are out in the middle and about to toss the coin.
Well, it looks pretty good, but I think early on this pitch will be very fast with lots of bounce in it, so the fast bowlers should enjoy themselves. Batsmen, well, I think they'll have the work cut out early on, and they'll have to adjust to the height and pace of the bowling. If they can get through a sort of difficult morning session, they might find runs will be a bit easier in the afternoon.
Day for the helmet, is it?
Definitely so, especially the way you bat.
Thank you, Geoffrey. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are out in the middle and they're about to toss the coin.
Well, all this hot weather, and I think the pitch has obviously suffered a little during the sunshine that's baked it. In fact, I think it's got a bit too dry. There are lots of cracks around already in the pitch. It will certainly take spin right from the start, so we can expect a lot of overs from the slow bowlers during the game. I would expect the bounce of the ball to get lower as the match progresses and therefore more difficult to score runs on. I certainly wouldn't like to have to bat last on this pitch.
Should be fascinating. Thanks, Geoffrey. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are in the middle and about to toss the coin. How important is concentration for batsmen then, Geoffrey?
I think it's the most important thing for any batsman, because once you start to lose concentration, almost certainly you'll get out. You'll play a sloppy shot.
I think people always said it was one of your great strengths, didn't they?
I think if you're lucky enough to be blessed with concentration, then you are very, very lucky indeed. But I think you still have to work at it. I don't think it's something you can turn on and off like a cold water tap. You have to go out there and work in the nets at concentration.
I think one-day cricket perhaps doesn't help players concentrate so much these days, particularly batsmen.
No, I don't think it helps batsmen to build an innings. I think they start playing too many shots before they actually get in. I think a lot of batsmen have stopped learning how to prepare an innings, to play an innings. And you're finding so many test matches throughout the world are finishing in 3.5 to 4 days. They don't last the 5 days anymore. A lot of crash bang wallop going on with the batsmen. Their shot selection is quite poor.
They're picking up the singles really well out there now.
I think this has been the second most improved thing in cricket since one-day cricket. The fielding's been the first, and the running between the wickets. There's a lot of now batsmen who weren't before are now well aware of how important it is to change the strike, to alternate. I think it frustrates and irritates bowlers almost more than being hit for four when they bowl a good ball and the fielders aren't in tight and the batsman has the skill to play with soft hand, to just drop the ball down and canter a fairly comfortable single.
The Australians are so good at this, aren't they, as well? I know Bob Simpson calling it strike rotation, he always called it. That was the way he used to get the openers, particularly running between the wickets. Yeah,
he had a brilliant partnership with Bill Lawry and changed ends very quickly, especially with left and right-hander. That's the important. If you've got a left and right-hander in, you not only get a single and keep the scoreboard ticking over, suddenly the bowler has to alter his line. to a different batsman.
Yeah, frustrating stuff. Now, that's the flipper. Can you explain that for the viewers at home, Geoffrey?
What I'd really like is you to explain it,
Hey.
because I've seen you bat.
It is your job. I'm commentating.
You'll never read it, you.
Let's have your expert comments. That's your job.
It's a ball that comes onto the batsman much quicker than he expects. It's a deceptive delivery, and usually it keeps a little low, shoots in at you, lower and quicker. And what they're trying to do, the great wrist spinners, is sometimes set the batsman up with one short of a length to get him on the back foot pulling it and think it's an easy 4. That's okay. They might give you an odd 4 like that. And then they bowl a similar ball in the same spot, just short of a length. You go back to pull it and it hurries on, squats a little bit, just shoots on and catches you either bowled or LBW. It's a great delivery if you can learn to bowl it, and learn to pitch it well is the important thing.
And what about picking it? What are you looking for from the batsman's end?
You're watching his hand, it come out the side of the hand, come out from the side rather than at the back of the hand.
Let's have a look at the next one, see what he delivers this time.
Well, it looks to me as if the seam bowlers can pack the bags and go home. It looks as if it's spin right from the start. As the match carries on, I think it'll wear even more will the pitch, and there'll be more and more spin bowlers queuing up to bowl. It'll please the spinners, but it'll make life very difficult for the batsmen on the last day. And I wouldn't fancy batting on it, certainly at the 4th or 5th day.
Crucial toss then.
Definitely so, and I'm not sure I'd queue up to bat early on.
Let's see what happens. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are out in the middle and they're about to toss the coin.
When I looked at it earlier on, I thought there's only one place to be here, and that's batting. It looks hard, flat, dry, a batsman's paradise. I can't think what the bowlers are going to get out of it. They'll have to work jolly hard to get anything. And it might turn towards the end of the match, which will help the spinners. But until then, I think it's fill your boots time for batsmen.
For a bowler like me, I'm better off up here.
Well, yes, you can't bat and you couldn't bowl, so I'm not sure what you were doing.
Well, thanks, Geoffrey. Now let's go down to the pitch where the captains are in the middle and they're about to toss the coin.
Well, all this hot weather, and I think the pitch has obviously suffered a little during the sunshine that's baked it. In fact, I think it's got a bit too dry. There are lots of cracks around already in the pitch. It will certainly take spin right from the start, so we can expect a lot of overs from the slow bowlers during the game. I would expect the bounce of the ball to get lower as the match progresses and therefore more difficult to score runs on. I certainly wouldn't like to have to bat last on this pitch, and I'll be surprised if it lasts the 5 days.
Should be fascinating. Thanks, Geoffrey. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are in the middle and about to toss the coin.
Well, I think the groundsman should be complimented here. I think he's done a fine job. It's an excellent cricket pitch. It's got some nice pace and bounce, I think it's going to have. The ball's going to carry quite nicely to the keeper, so the batsmen should enjoy playing shots. The bowlers should be able to get the ball through to the keeper if they get any nicks. I don't think there'll be much in it for the finger spinners. I can't see any turn in this. Wrist spinners, well, that's a bit different. They might enjoy a bit of pace and bounce, and they might do well on it.
Well, high praise indeed. Thanks, Geoffrey. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are out in the middle and they're about to toss the coin.
Well, with all the rain we've had, the pitch is damp and the grass has grown thick. There's going to be a lot of movement right through the match on this particular surface, but particularly early on when the batting will be very difficult. It'll be a slow, low seamer with the ball not coming onto the bat. The outfield will be slow even when the batsmen hit it for runs, and I think runs will be very hard to come by, and it should be a battle of patience between bowler and batsman. A vital toss to win, and even if you win it, I'm not sure what you do with it.
Low scoring match then.
Definitely.
All right, thanks, Geoffrey. Let's see what happens. Let's go down to the pitch where the captains are all ready to make the crucial toss.
Well, it doesn't look a good looking pitch to me. It looks slow and low, with the ball probably reaching the keeper around his ankles. There's no bounce or pace in it, and I think it's going to be hard work for batsmen to score runs, especially with a slowish outfield. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game, and it'll be interesting to see which of the bowlers have the most success. I think the seamers bowl in line and length, with the ball getting lower and lower, and some balls eventually becoming grubbers or rollers will create great difficulty for batsmen to score runs.
Well, an interesting looking match. Thanks, Geoffrey. Let's go down to the pitch. And the captains are down there in the middle and they're about to toss the coin.
Well, there's been such a lot of rain around that it's not a surprise that the pitch is a bit damp at the moment. But the sun's been out early this morning and the pitch is already getting a little bit tacky. Now, I don't think there'll be much in it for the bowlers early on when the roller's been on the pitch. But once it starts to dry out a little bit, I think we're going to have a few fun and games. I think the ball's going to start taking off, jumping and doing all sorts of things. And I don't think it's going to be enjoyment for the batsmen. It might be fun for the bowlers, but people like me won't enjoy it later on.
Interesting game to watch then. Thanks, Geoffrey. Let's go and see who wins this crucial toss. The captains are out in the middle and they're about to toss the coin. The fielding's been brilliant in this match, Geoffrey.
Well, I think it's the one aspect more than anything that has improved beyond all recognition since the advent of one-day cricket. I think everybody these days is not afraid to dive or get the trousers dirty. When I was playing, everybody went around spick and span, nice clean trousers. We never got them dirty at all. It was the done thing to look very smart. Today, players within 5 minutes of being out, they're diving and stopping runs. And I like the dive, but I'm not so keen on the diving head first when it's near the boundary ropes and their advertising boards, because I think somebody's going to get themselves seriously hurt.
Really backs the bowlers up too, doesn't it? Especially if the batsmen are digging in. The fielders can really support the bowler.
They can. I think that when people are diving around and saving runs, it helps. But I think the people who actually can help the bowler most of all are the people fielding in and saving the single. They do a lot of good work for the bowler by keeping the pressure on the batsman, stopping him sneaking a single. And it doesn't get quite as much recognised as a great dive near the boundary rope and the fielder gets his clothes all dirty and he saves one run. I feel that the guy who's feeling at cover point mid-wicket is much more vital to the bowler.
All right, well, they're bringing on a finger spinner, Geoffrey.
Money for old rope. There are very few finger spinners today in world cricket that actually win test matches. They're a part of the game. They're very important to change the trajectory, the pace of bowling. You can't have all seamers, and they play a part in getting 2 or 3 wickets. But except for pitches where they really turn a lot, in the last innings, you don't find finger spinners taking many wickets in the first innings of test matches.
Have the dry pitches been the finishing of them, do you think? They used to bowl well on the old stickies, Jim Laker and people, didn't they?
I think when we had uncovered test match pitches, it was much better because you had to include 2 finger spinners of different variety in your team, because if you got uncovered pitches, they got wet and then the sun came out, they started drying, they were absolutely vital. They could bowl you out in 2 hours, no problem.
So are finger spinners rather more defensive, do you think, these days?
I think in the first innings of a test match, they have to bowl tight, almost pressure bowlers, and just pick up the odd wicket through pressure. A lot of pitchers don't turn these days until the match is well into its, say, 4th day. I like pitches where it turns quicker, earlier in the game, because I'd like to see more spinners in the game. I think it's interesting. It brings variety as well into the game. And I like the pitches in India and Pakistan where they turn a lot more.
How do you play a wrist spinner, Geoffrey?
The way you batted with great difficulty. The way I bat, a lot better than you.
You just block it though, wouldn't you?
Block it. The idea is you have to block some against all bowlers, but particularly wrist spinners, until you've actually worked out what he's bowling, until you feel confident that you've got a reasonably good idea of what his varieties are, from leg spinner, googly, top spinner, etc. There's no point in being too attacking, too aggressive, because you're going to make a mess of it and get yourself out.
That's your excuse, sir.
So it's like any good batsman. You've got to stay in to get runs first and then try and read his varieties. And I think reading his various varieties are the key to playing wrist spin as well.
How can you learn to read it unless you play it? That's the hard thing, isn't it? There's so many players these days don't seem to face much wrist spin.
Well, there aren't many wrist spinners around, unfortunately, where years ago, because of the quality of pitches, it's pitches that make the type of bowlers that we produce.
So against this wrist spin now, are you looking forward to get forward or are you looking to get back?
Well, a lot of coaches have said if in doubt, push out. And a lot of batsmen are in doubt of what wrist spinners bowl. My own view is opposite from that. I think it's very dangerous to be pushing forward until you're sure of what he's bowling. If anything, I'd stay back and only come forward when I had to with a big stride. So I actually believe the opposite is the best, because sometimes if he bowls just short of a length, you can actually read it off the pitch. A lot of pitches, they're slow enough to watch it carefully, read it off the pitch and play it very late.
Now, it seems to be very hard to play this bowling, Geoffrey. Wrist spin into the rough, that's a real nightmare, isn't it?
It is if the wrist spinner's a good bowler, like Shane Warne. I think if you're a right-hander and he's bowling into the rough, outside your leg stump, I think you've got to decide whether you're actually looking to just block him and stay in. That's not so difficult. I mean, basically, he can't get you out LBW. You just pad up, just make sure you get your gloves and your bat out of the way.
Almost play French cricket, I suppose, can't you?
Yeah, you just stand in front of your stumps and just frustrate him, really, till he gets tired and he sees you're not going to play a shot. Now, that's okay if you're saving the game. Now, the problem comes if you're trying to score against him. And I think if you're trying to score against him, you've got to decide that you're going to use the sweep. I think the sweep's a vital element against him bowling into the rough. And you sweep not so much on line, because you know it's going to be outside leg stump where the bowler's footmarks are. You sweep on length. And it's so important to remember he has bowled people behind their bottom, behind their legs. So make sure you get your leg on the line of the ball. Now, for left-handers, it becomes difficult in so much that when he's bowling into the rough outside your off stump then as a left-hander, the ball, when it pitches in the rough, is likely to turn a great deal more because it's receptive. It's got a lot of scuffed up areas. The ball can scoot along the deck, but more often than not might jump at you. And I think it's absolutely vital that you don't try cover drives. He's going to bowl you through the gate. You're going to make a right mess of it. And you've got to use the lap sweep then. You've got to knock him off his length. You've got to lap sweep him to leg. But you do have the pad as the second line of defence. That's your one good thing when he's bowling to the left-handers.
Poor old left-handers seem to get quite hard with a rough outside their off stump.
No, they're lucky. They're blessed being left-handers. Don't have any sympathy for them. I don't. If I come back again in this life, I'm going to be a left-handed batsman and a fast bowler like Malcolm Marshall.
You'd still block it though, wouldn't you? Still be a phantom blocker.
No, I would not.
Do you play shots this time?
Yes.
Oh, that's worth coming back for.
I'd knock your block off if I were Malcolm Marshall.
You probably would as well.